What's up, everyone? Today we have a Stihl HS46C. The owner says that it will run, but only if it's level like it is now. Once you start going to like the left or right, you know, like so, which is generally how I would use it, it gets to be a little bit more problematic. So he thinks it is a carb problem, which it very well could be, but I'm starting to wonder if it's like a fuel delivery problem. I don't know. I haven't seen it actually run yet. So let's go ahead, before we do that, I want to take a quick look in the fuel tank. This could be a quick and easy video, hopefully, fingers crossed. Okay. So, that is interesting. I'm going to pour that out and see what we have. Here is my main concern. The fuel filter in there is a weighted fuel filter, so that means there's a weight on the bottom of it, so when you move it, it moves with you. With the fuel out, we can take a look and see if that happens. And it does. Now, the tank is specifically small for that reason, or not small, just how it's shaped. So, usually like, you know, like in a car, your fuel tank is pretty wide and not very tall because it's always going to be on the ground. This is not. It needs to be specifically shaped. And the fuel filter, when the fuel goes to one end, let's say like when you tip over to the right, it needs to fall to the right. Now, it appears to be doing that. Now, something that is not very reassuring to me is this. Good fuel should be a little yellow, mostly clear. This is not good fuel. It is definitely aged. So, I'm thinking we have a mixture of this. There's not a lot of fuel in there. It's not a very big tank, but more importantly, it's bad. So what I'm thinking is it could probably run if it had good fuel, but when it has a combination of a little bit of a low fuel and bad low fuel, it's struggling. And what I mean by that is it's just not getting the correct amount of fuel to run properly and starting to die. So what we have here is non-ethanol with Red Echo Armor oil. We're going to fill about 3/4 of the way. Probably a little bit more. Probably about 3/4. And we're going to put this back on. There we go. Here's the problem. This primer bulb is full of bad fuel. We're going to prime it like 20 times. We want to. What this is going to do is this will push the excess fuel into the tank, and while pulling fuel from the tank, good fuel from the tank, into the carburetor. And in the meantime, it's going to be also pulling bad fuel from the carburetor into the bulb, and then pushing it back into the tank. Considering the amount of fuel we're talking about, it's going to be diluted so much, it's not going to be a problem anymore. Okay. I think we're good to go. I'm not going to check the air filter or anything quite yet, but I think we're going to give it a pull and see what happens. I'm going to pull it on the table. It's going to be real jittery. It's for you. And then I'm going to turn you off, and then we'll do a test. But I think that's choke. Yeah, it's choke. Okay. what? I see a lot of smoke. That's not necessarily abnormal, but there's something about these machines that I will explain probably later. What's going to make me do this right now. So if I'm wrong about this, someone correct me, but oil needs a little bit of a higher temperature to burn thoroughly. Gasoline's very volatile. Oil's not, at least not that. So when you have a oil gas mix, some of the oil doesn't burn thoroughly. It will plug, it will get shot through a cylinder, through the spark arrestor, kind of land on it, and over the course of time, kind of carbon up, or partially burnt oil will just land on there already carboned and causing problems. And look at that. That is plugged. Okay. So that is definitely one of our problems. I'm gonna get that cleaned up. That is a easiest way is with a torch. Just get it red hot, it burns the carbon off, take your air compressor, compress the air, real deep breath and blowing through, whatever you want to do. Blow through it, get it cleaned out, and then install it back in. So that's what I'm going to do, and we'll be right back. Got that nice and cleaned out. Let's get it installed. That's what it looks like now. A lot better. That's what it basically looked like when it was brand new. So the thing that really got me thinking it was this was the smoke. This is basically choking the machine. It's really hot, so I don't really want to use my hand to start it. And when it chokes the machine, it doesn't combust correctly, and a lot of excess oil is everywhere. And eventually that oil will make smoke. So there we go. Now you'll be tempted to remove that and delete it. Don't do that. It's there for a reason. You don't want to start a fire. It's easier just to clean it. It's not like it's going to cause a huge performance loss or gain if you remove it, so just don't do it. Now that we have the spark arrestor cleaned out, good new fuel at an appropriate level, I say we give it a try again. Try no choke. It's been a while, but see what happens. Might need a tune-up or just a warming up. Probably hasn't been ran appropriately for a while. I'm gonna let it idle and get it warmed up. I think that's pretty good. So, what did we do? We put good new fuel in it. In addition to that, we cleaned out the spark arrestor. Old fuel, good oil, probably would have been okay to run, but it's going to cause problems. Old fuel just doesn't burn as well. It's just a fact of fuel. And when it doesn't burn as well, you have carbon problems. Now, if you mix it with bad oil and old fuel, you have a recipe for disaster with these machines. Stihl hedge trimmers, Stihl weed eaters have a horrible, in my experience, track record of plugging up spark arrestors. All 2 cycles do, but these especially. Like, I kid you not, if I were to go over the course of like 3 years, and I can tell you in probably like 4 fingers how many times I had to clean a non-steel spark arrestor. And oh man, just this season alone, I probably cleaned 7, 8. No, there was a blower too, so 9. Just that. That's what it is. It's just what happens. I don't know. I just assume that these are powerful machines, so people don't have to run them as hard. And when you don't run them as hard, it's not good to run your machine 100% full throttle all the time. But it's also not good to run it at like a quarter throttle all the time. It needs to go through high and low, high and low, high and low, high and low. It needs to do it. Kind of like the Italian tune-up on your car. While it's not advised every day, yeah, maybe you get in a freeway, you get the valves moving, the air flowing, that gets hot and burns off the carbon, and you're good to go. You know, you need to exercise that and get it hot. Engines need heat. Heat can be both a boost and a hindrance for engines. And in this case, lack of heat will be a hindrance. So, if you like what you see, keep watching, subscribe, follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101. If you have any questions, definitely leave a comment below. If I helped you out, put a thumbs up, that helps me out. If you have any personal help needs that you require, I do offer memberships, and even at the base level, that includes personalized help. We'll email, we'll do whatever, we'll get your situation resolved. But other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.